This is The Healthy Healer, where true voice is your medicine. This is where we help doctors and other healers navigate through the challenging times by learning from the best minds in the healing industry. Laugh, cry, and be surprised. It's entertainment, education, and inspiration so you can continue to be the unique and amazing healer you were destined to be. Welcome to humanity. Welcome to The Healthy Healer with Dr. Fred.
Hello, everybody. It's Dr. Fred, and welcome to another amazing episode of The Healthy Healer. And it is just a sincere, beautiful opportunity today to have a conversation and to have a guest here from a highest rapport. This is someone who I have been referred to, who has received rave reviews on other podcasts that he's done in the past, taking on an aspect of mental health that many of us know or think we know a lot about, and many of us have experienced at different times in our life. Maybe not as severe as people who are actually diagnosed with the syndromes, but all of us know what anxiety is, or think that we know what anxiety is. And Daniel Packard calls himself Anxiety Solutions Pioneer. And Daniel has a whole breakthrough discovery that he's going to share with us today that actually talks about the genesis of anxiety and very successful ways of managing it, of actually eliminating it from one's life, so that people can feel calm, grounded, centered, and happy. So without further ado, please welcome my esteemed guest, Daniel Packard. Daniel, thank you for being on The Healthy Healer.
Come on, it's great to be here, Dr. Fred. Can I call you Dr. Fred?
For sure. That's the best name to call me, for sure.
All right. Part of me wants to be called unofficially Dr. Daniel, like Dr. Demento. Is that okay?
If you want me to call you Dr. Demento or Dr. Daniel, we can go either way, Daniel.
I'm helping people with mental health, so I think Dr. Demento would be off-brand. I know I brought it up, so I'm going to stick with Dr. How about Dr. Delicious? You okay? This is my chance.
Yeah, Dr. Delicious is a nickname that someone I used to date gave me back in the day, so I don't know about that. I'm not really that excited about calling you Dr. Delicious. If we come up with another one, that might be better.
I appreciate your boundaries and not having a weird sort of existential homoerotic experience. How about Dr. Danimal?
Dr. Danimal. I can live with that. Dr. Danimal, welcome to The Healthy Healer. It's really great to have you here.
Why, thank you. As I went to medical school for many years to have that credential. It's great to be here. And I want to say hello to your community. Anyone who's on a podcast that has the word healing in it, I want to thank you, because that is the way to go in life. But it takes real courage to even be aware of that and then do that incredible work. So to all the people healing out there, thank you in advance for the healing work you're doing. I know people around you may not always appreciate you, but I do. And I'm going to give you some profound insights right now to help you heal a part of yourself you maybe didn't even know existed, and to heal it faster so you can be happier for yourself and other people. How's that sound?
Okay, Daniel, that sounds really wonderful. And I really get that in the next few minutes, you're going to actually make a transformational impact on our audience, and maybe on me, and maybe on you as well, in the area, I assume, of anxiety. Before we get started too deeply, I want to ask you a question that I ask many of my guests. It is an icebreaker, and it's a great way to start a conversation in a podcast realm. So the question is a 9-letter question, grammatically correct, and really covers a lot. And here it goes. Daniel Packard, who are you?
I am a human brought to transmit truth to myself and others.
All right. A human brought to transmit truth to yourself and others. Fantastic. Can you elaborate a little bit on the truth that you're bringing to yourself and others?
Yes, it's a truth that I believe most people aren't seeing, and through a lot of pain as we learn things. And I want to be clear about this truth and the value of it, because this podcast takes up your listeners' time, and why would they give their time right now? Also, your listeners are educated, aware people, and they've heard a lot of the same stuff. What's different about what I'm going to share with you right now? What's different about this truth is that this truth is different because a lot of truths around anxiety help you manage anxiety. They give you awareness and insights, and it's great. It helps you cope with a horrible situation and make it less horrible. However, managing anxiety is not the same as solving anxiety. And that is the truth that I want to bring to you right now, is the two breakthrough discoveries that my team and I made over 8 years, which allow you to completely be free of it within as little as 8 weeks. And the reason I know the difference is because I had crippling anxiety after I was in a relationship. I fell in love and we didn't live happily ever after, shocker, and it became abusive. And when I came out of it, I had anxiety and PTSD and I couldn't leave the house. The tiniest thing, my whole system would shut down and I would go into terror. And I spent $100,000 and 10 years learning to manage it, but it was getting worse and I was ready to end it. And I wouldn't have, but I got why people do commit suicide, because it's like, what's the point if I wasn't living a full life when you're just managing anxiety and it's getting worse. And so growing up, my dad was a physicist and an inventor. And he told me, if things aren't working, invent something better. And so I went to engineering school to learn how to do that. And then he also told me something, which is, Daniel, what people really need isn't ideas or concepts or knowledge. They need results. That's what makes people's lives better. And so to just find a cure for myself and the planet, I started my own research company to see, could we just solve anxiety permanently? And the answer is yes, you can. And so that's the value of what you're going to learn right now, is it's not just any information or truth. It's the information will allow you to solve this quickly and permanently so you can be free. A, any questions, Dr. Fred? B, what do you think about what I'm saying?
Beautiful. So this idea of actually solving anxiety is a form of healing, and it sounds like it's a permanent form of healing, and that you're going to actually give us some information here in the next several minutes that can be utilized today to help people who are having anxiety who might have tuned in to this podcast. Is that right? The information you're going to give out today will be something that really allows people to at least take first steps to eliminate anxiety from their life. They're crippled by it at this point.
So yes and no. We found to solve it, you can't just have tips and tools and insights. It was the process that we spent 8 years developing. And that's really what does it. A lot of people will give you tips and tools, but you've been tipped and tooled out. You can have tips and tools and insights to manage it, to solve it. It's really a process and a system. But what I'm going to give you is the breakthrough discoveries of where anxiety is actually coming, the actual root cause that nobody knows about, and a framework of what would be necessary to solve it. For people who actually want to solve it, they can reach out to me at the end and learn about the process. So definitely some insights so you'll understand why you haven't solved it in the past and what it would take to solve it moving forward. But no tips. There's enough tips in the world. No, it's a tip-free zone. We're talking about not education, but liberation.
All right. Not education, but liberation. Totally appreciate that, Daniel. So talk to me a little bit. Where does anxiety come from? Where should we get started with this wonderful conversation?
First of all, where we did, which is where it's not. And it's important to know where it's not so that you can have some compassion and understanding. When we went looking for it, we first looked at where we're taught it's coming from. We were told, as researchers, we first listened to what was out there, and we're told anxiety is coming from the mind. It's quiet the mind, quiet the ego. There's meditation to quiet the thoughts. It's called mental, keyword mental health. And it sounds like that could be the root cause because the mind says scary things and we feel scared. But we looked at the results and we just said, is that approach getting results? Is that solving anything? And we realized modern psychology has been around for 100 years and anxiety is getting worse. Other physical health is getting better. Infant mortality rate is going down. All sorts of cancer rates are going down. All sorts of diseases. Mental health is getting worse. Suicide is getting worse. Depression is getting worse. So we were outsiders, not experts. And the outsiders said, going after the mind is not getting results. So maybe it's not coming from there. And because we were outsiders, we could challenge what the experts were saying. And very quickly we realized it's not coming from the mind. And it's very obvious where it's coming from, which is when you're anxious, you'll actually feel it. You'll feel your throat close up. You'll feel your chest tighten. Your heart rate can go up. Your stomach can get an icky feeling. So Dr. Fred, and if you're listening to this, they say it's in the mind, but listen to those words: throat, chest, stomach, heart. Does that sound like the mind to you or more like the body?
No, that sounds more like the body for sure.
Yeah, and it's not tricky. And so we found it was coming. That is the root cause. Now, sometimes people say, Daniel, maybe my scary mind scares me and then I feel it in my body second. And again, that's what the experts say. But if you research it, that's not how we are wired. We're not wired where the mind is first and the body is second. We are mechanically wired where the body is first and the mind is second. You're a doctor, okay? The body tells you what the body needs. If you're hungry, you feel it in the body first, and then your mind is a tool to get the body what it needs. If you're in the jungle and you get scared, you feel it in the body first, then your mind is a tool to escape or fight the thing. So it's body first, mind second. So what I'm going to explain to you in a bit is your body is already feeling anxious all the time. Then your mind senses the fear in the body and your mind starts spinning thinking, oh my God, there's a problem. We better solve the problem. We're in danger. That's where the scarcity mindset and all the negative thoughts is. But your scary mind is not the cause. Your scary mind is a symptom of where anxiety is actually coming from, which is the body.
That's pretty interesting. So anxiety comes from the body, but where does it get its roots ultimately? Is it that we have to have an external circumstantial event to actually create anxiety, or is it something that one is afflicted with? Is it connected in any way to outside or inside experience? Because that's another thing that we've been taught, is that it's secondary to the way that the world occurs to us. Is that true, or does it have its own free will?
It's not about the outside world, and I'll explain to you where it's coming from. And once you understand the mechanics of it, that question will almost seem moot. It's what we're taught, and there's all these theories about anxiety. They just don't line up with the actual data and the results. But the first thing I want to say is for anybody, it's not in your mind, it's in your body. And the reason that's freeing is because when our clients come to us, they think it's in their mind and they beat themselves up and they think they're broken for this negative mind. They say, why am I so negative? My life is so great. And I tell them, basically, you were sent to the wrong location. That's why you never were able to solve this. So you never stood a chance. So if you're listening to this, I just want to let you know you're not broken. Your mind isn't going crazy. You don't even have an anxiety issue. You have a location issue. And if you go to the actual root cause location, which is the body, your anxiety can go away quickly. So now the question is, where is it coming from? And once we saw that it was in the body, then we started to say, okay, what's the engineering? Where is it coming from in a way that makes this simple and solvable? And the beauty is that the body has systems, mechanical systems, the respiratory system, the circulatory system, the epidermal, these are all systems. And systems in the body have real mechanics to them. If you're in the mind, that's a black box up there. People still don't know a lot about the mind. But the body, we have it pretty well mapped out. You know about the respiratory system. Air comes in your mouth and goes into your lungs. So if you're eating a cheeseburger and all of a sudden you can't breathe, you don't say, maybe this is society. Maybe my chakras aren't aligned. Maybe this is a scarcity mindset. You're like, nope, I have something blocking my airway and I need to get it out. We asked ourselves, what system in the body is controlling this thing? And if we know it's a system, we can decode it and fix it. But it's really obvious. Anxiety, if you strip away the label, is really just super nervous. You're just extra nervous. So to Dr. Fred and anyone listening to this, which system in the body do you think is responsible for feeling extra nervous? Okay, option A, the respiratory system, B, the circulatory system, or option C, the nervous system.
Oh, which one is leading to nervousness of the circulatory, the respiratory, and the nervous system? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, which system is most likely to make you extra nervous?
I'm going to go with C, the nervous system.
That's why you've got the legit doctor label. Smart man. Isn't that obvious? We're feeling extra nervous. It's coming from the nervous. The word is right there. And people are like, nope, it's the mind. Now that we know that and we're solving anxiety in the nervous system, it's because we all got pulled. Anyway, it comes from the nervous system. That is the location, is the nervous system. Now, you ask first, any questions or what do you think about what I'm saying, Dr. Fred?
No, it makes a lot of sense. It comes from the nervous system. And the idea, of course, is that as we were taught, it's understandable because the nervous system and the mind have been linked together in our education in the last several decades. So that we think that if we're studying the mind, we're close enough to studying the nervous system, that the nervous system is the location of where the mind emanates from. I think that you're probably going to touch on that here in the next few minutes.
Yeah, but once I say it, it makes a whole lot of sense. But doesn't it seem odd that we've been told to go to the mind all along?
Yeah, for sure. It does.
Especially when they weren't getting results. If they were getting results, like fine, but they weren't. They were like, no, it's the mind. I'm like, but I'm feeling extra nervous. No, it's the mind. Are you getting results? No, it's that. So people say, how can you and your team do this thing that the experts haven't? Because we weren't experts. We were engineers. We were outsiders and we could see what they weren't willing to see. Now the question is, why is the nervous system anxious in a way that makes this solvable? Because just theories aren't helpful. You need a theory that makes this solvable. So the beauty of systems in the body is that they all have a certain similar profile to them. Anxiety, one could argue, again, strip away that label and look at the mechanics of it. One could argue that when you are anxious, you are just fragile, meaning life pushes on you, and instead of handling it, you feel extra scary. Can you see that we could also call it fragile?
Yeah.
And also, people describe anxiety as like emotional pain. It's like painful when you're really anxious. It's not just, it's like painful, especially people with panic. It's painful. So take away the abstract word of anxiety and swap it in for fragile and releasing pain. Okay. Many of the systems in the body, if they malfunction, they also become fragile and release pain. Agreed?
Yeah.
So if you're listening to this, just know you don't have anxiety. You don't have a disorder. You have a nervous system that, for reasons I'll explain to you, is malfunctioning, and you are fragile and releasing pain. It sucks, but you're not broken. You're just, a system in your body isn't running properly, and you're fragile and it's releasing pain, which is what a body will do if you don't know how to take care of it. So you have the dental system, and there's basics to the dental system. Brush and floss. Don't eat too much sugar. If you do those basics, basically your teeth are happy and healthy. And because we know to brush and floss, not eat too much sugar, we can keep our teeth healthy because we were taught how to take care of our dental system and our sleep system. Okay, but to Dr. Fred, and if you're listening to this, did anybody ever sit you down when you were younger and say, hey, here's what your nervous system and feelings and emotions need every day, and it's extra important you take really good care of them, okay? Did anybody ever give you that conversation, Dr. Fred?
Not really, no.
I didn't hear you. What?
Not really. Not so. I never had that conversation.
Oh, you're muted.
I'm not sure how that happened. Can you hear me now?
Still can't hear you, but I'll keep talking. Basically,
can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, yes.
Okay, yeah. No, I never had that conversation.
No, we're not taught healthy emotional hygiene. We're taught poor emotional hygiene. Get over it. Don't take it personally. Boys don't cry. I'll give you something to cry about. You're too needy. We're not taught good hygiene. We're taught poor hygiene. But also just think about it. Think of all the people, especially growing up, that were supposed to protect you and love you, that hurt you and didn't apologize or treated you poorly. They basically teach us accidentally and condition us that our emotional system is not to be taken care of. Otherwise, they would have taken better care of us. If you're listening to this, if you were taught to take care of your teeth, great. If you were taught to take care of your nervous system, great. But you were never, ever taught how. I wasn't, and you weren't. And over time, not right away, but over time, through not taking care of your nervous system, we're talking months and years, eventually, the nervous system, just like any system in the body you don't take care of, eventually will become fragile and release pain. So the root cause of anxiety is that you were never taught to take daily care of your nervous system. And over time, keyword, an accumulation of not taking care of it eventually built up to a fragile nervous system that when life pushes on it, instead of feeling the pressure of life, you feel pain. What do you think of that, Dr. Fred?
Yeah, so you have a fragile nervous system, and because you haven't taken care of it, pain is the inevitable outcome, and that's what
Inevitable. Okay, if you don't, and I say this so people can have compassion, if you don't know that this has been building for a while and it hits you, yeah, you feel broken, like there's something wrong with you and you can't solve it. But what if I just said you didn't know how to do this and eventually your system was going to malfunction? It was inevitable, and you're not broken. The system is designed that if you don't take care of a system, there's pain. And that's not a broken system. That's actually a beautifully designed system. So if you're listening to this and you have anxiety, you're not broken. You are functioning properly.
Exactly. It makes sense.
Any questions?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It makes total sense. I totally get that.
Yeah. Now, the beauty of this understanding is that it's not just any understanding. It's an understanding that makes this actually simple and solvable. Not all theories do, but this one makes it solvable because even though you've had it a really long time, if you understand what's going on, you can understand why this is solvable quickly. People will ask me, Daniel, how can you solve anxiety in 6 weeks? That makes no sense. That sounds too good to be true. But think about it. If you had somebody that was not taught about brushing and flossing, they were just not taught it, And then after about 5-10 years, their teeth become rotten and they have rotten, infected teeth. Now, anytime they eat anything, they're going to feel pain. They'll eat a carrot, ice cubes, ice cream, anything they eat is going to cause excruciating pain. And they're going to think they're broken. And they could try years and years and years to make their teeth better, and they never could. But if one day you just told that person, hey, the issue is you just never took care of your teeth, go to the dentist, they'll bring your teeth back to health, and then brush and floss moving forward, and then a lifetime of pain can go away in a short period of time. Does that make sense?
That does make sense. Yes, sir.
So if you're listening to this thinking, Daniel, that it's impossible. You can't do it in 6 weeks. You could solve tooth pain in 6 weeks, and you can solve emotional pain in 6 weeks. And so the beauty of that, if you're listening to this and you've lost hope, you haven't been able to solve this quickly, and it's been way complicated because they sent you to the wrong location. They've been just managing symptoms, which is you need a root canal, but you're just like trying to brush and floss your way out. And what I try to tell people is you have to understand that this has been building for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't, you're going to beat yourself up and find you're broken, but it'll help you understand that it is solvable. People who have anxiety now say, why am I so anxious? I shouldn't be so anxious. It's not about the right now. But it is what's been building for a while. It's like those couples who have been not taking care of one another, and there's all this pain and hurt and fragility building up. And then one day someone says, hey, let's go to this restaurant. Another person says, you're not listening to me. And you know what? I'm done. And one person says, what? It was just about the restaurant. No, that's just what's happening now. But what you're experiencing, the divorce, is what's been building for a while. Make sense?
It does. I know I'm speak for the listeners. I'm very curious. What are the kind of things that I can do that actually can take care of the long-lasting contributors to what has led to now an experience of anxiety on a chronic basis?
Of course, you want to know that because I'm saying it's simple, bring your nervous system back to health. But unfortunately, an individual tool and a tip doesn't work, because what we discovered in our research is we took tools there are tools out there that help with the nervous system, breathing exercises, even meditation calms the body, but it's not permanent. Why? Because if you've neglected your system long enough, it basically becomes, for lack of better words, damaged. It's gone too far. It's into root canal area. And then individual tools will not bring it into health. So there's maintenance tools, which you can do to maintain your nervous system. And then there's a repair tools and a repair system. So imagine you had an engine. Now, an engine just needs oil and some fluids. But if you neglect the engine long enough, you'll blow the engine. At that point, you can't just pour oil on the engine and say, oh, this is what the engine needs. Oh, because it's been blown. You need to go in a process with a specific set of tools that a mechanic has to bring the engine back to health. That's what we spent 8 years figuring out, and the specific steps and sequence. That was the tricky part, not the tools, the sequence of how to do it. Once the system's back to health, then yes, you can do the daily maintenance. So in the program, we teach you the process and the tools to bring your nervous system back to health. That's the tough part. But while you're doing it, you're learning a daily habit that once your nervous system is back to health, then you can do basic maintenance. But the other thing that's really important to understand, and why I don't give individual tools and techniques, is because it just won't solve anything. Because even if I told you, hey, do this or try this every day, the fact is we have been conditioned over time to not take care of ourselves. We know the basic food pyramid of the nervous system, but Dr. Fred and your listeners already know there's areas of their lives where they don't take good care of themselves, but they can't help it. Your listeners already know sometimes they put others first and themselves second. They already know that, but they keep doing it. They already know sometimes they don't ask for help or speak up or share their feelings. So even if I told you what to do, the fact is your unconscious has been wired to tell you to not take care of yourself and to put yourself second. So handing you tools wouldn't even help you. And so if you want to solve this truly, and this is part of the process, we have to update your unconscious, which we do, that tells you, oh, wait, I do deserve daily care. When you update the unconscious, then you will give yourself daily care. So the reason the systems works is it's not just a set of tools. It's a whole holistic system that we tested and refined to make sure that it works for people. And that's why we get a 90% success rate, because we tested the crap out of it.
That's pretty amazing. So this idea is, you really must get a 90% increase or a 90% success rate. I noticed that you don't when it comes to charging your clients, you don't even charge them to the very end of the process, only when they're satisfied with fully solved and healed anxiety system or nervous system that was experiencing anxiety. Correct?
That's absolutely correct. And if your listeners just heard that, they're like, wait, what? If it, I only pay when it works? Yeah. Have you heard anybody in the mental health field do that? No. Why?
Right.
We actually have the results to back it up. So we can, if we didn't actually get results, if you're listening to this thinking, how do I know it'll work? Because we run a company where we only get paid when it works. So when you hear this, just know we run a company on this premise and you only pay at the end. Why? Because my dad told me results matter. And if we can't get your results, we're not taking your money. And that's just, I feel that there's this thing that I call the improvement industrial complex, which is all the therapy and psychology and spirituality that just take your money, man. They just take your money. They don't solve anything. And I'm not judging those people, but I want to disrupt that and demand that people pay for results. And that's what we bring you.
And what do you call that? The industrial complex?
The
what?
improvement industrial complex, or Big Thera.
Yeah, Big Pharaoh. That's fantastic. Okay, I love that. A lot of people think that fix, change, or improve are the things that we should be aiming at, rather than the elimination of anxiety by bringing our nervous system back to health and then maintaining its health from that. It looks like you have a process that can look at a sick or broken down nervous system and bring it back to health. And then you have the instruction manual on how to keep it healthy after it's been brought back to its standard state. Fair to say?
Basically, yes. It's a repair, just like going to the dentist. They open up the teeth, they clean it out. They have a whole step, anesthesia first, then operation second, not the other way around. The sequence and the timing is key. You get the tools and the process and the steps to bring it back to health, and then the tools to do maintenance moving forward so you keep your results.
Fantastic. So say a little more about that. It's obviously very compelling, and the idea that this is a revolutionary approach to managing this thing that is often thought of as a primary psychiatric problem, right? It's almost always like depression and anxiety are the two things that these days get thrown around as the number one and two issues that us psychiatrists or us mental health professionals face when our clients come to us to assist, to get the assistance that they think they need. And the way they get that assistance typically is they first get diagnosed with a mind-based disorder called anxiety disorder or generalized anxiety disorder or was social phobia or any of the multitude of potential anxiety disorders that you can get. And then we give them some sort of medication or some sort of listening. Some sort of combination of listening to them and directing and instructing and insights. But you're saying there's an actual repair process that us improvement industrial complex members are overlooking.
You're overlooking, and I don't think it's anything Machiavellian or you don't care. I just think sometimes experts miss things. Florence Nightingale saw that more men were dying in recovery than in battle in the 1850s. She went to the doctors and the generals and said, can we do something about it? And they said, no, you can just manage this. Don't even bother. And she just paid attention. She saw that hygiene in the hospital was the issue. Very simple, based in taking care of the systems, the recovery system, and the death rate went down by 99%. Not because she was the smartest. She was an outsider who saw what the experts missed. And just the fact that it's called anxiety disorder is a complete misdiagnosis. It's not a disorder. If you don't brush your teeth and your teeth hurt, and you bite a carrot and your teeth hurt, nobody says, oh my God, you have carrot pain disorder. Wow, we need to. No, they just say this is the fragility from the system that's not working. And I don't slight therapists and the people that are trying to help. I just wish there was more accountability. When I had gone to therapists, they would have said, you know what? I don't know how to fix this. I wish I did. I'll give you some pills, which kind of sucks, but I don't really know. And I wish I did. I just wish I got that conversation. But instead they said, your anxiety is this, your anxiety is that. And I just kept forking out money and time and medication and didn't solve anything. So I want to be clear. I'm not judging the improvement industrial complex. I'm just saying that I think they're taking, there's a big gap between the money they're taking and the results they're getting. And we're here to disrupt that and get people results, because that's what makes people's lives better, is actual permanent results. If you're having heart attacks, that's what you want. You go to the doctor, they look in there, they see the blocked arteries, they open up the blocked artery, they clean it out, and then they put you on exercise and health. And then ideally, you shouldn't have heart attacks anymore if you do your part. Nobody goes to a hospital to just manage heart attacks. No. When you go to the doctor, and you have a broken bone, they put a cast on it, it repairs, and you're up and running. You don't go to the doctor to repair or to manage leg pain, but to fix it. So we see ourselves more as in the physical doctor realm. Obviously, I'm not, even though I'm Dr. Danimal. I'm just repeating myself. But yes, if you want to solve this permanently, it's not a disorder. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. Your system is designed to release fragility and pain when it's not taken care of. You are perfectly designed. Your anxiety is the check engine light of your soul. A check engine light doesn't mean that your engine is broken. It means the car is designed perfectly. You are not broken, and your anxiety is a gift because pain is there to get your attention so that you'll actually give yourself the love and care that you give others.
All right, so I'm going to let you go freewheeling a little bit, but one of the things I'm really interested in is an example of what a repair looks like. If I or someone I know or someone I send you has a broken nervous system, what kind of things might need to take place in order to repair that system?
Essentially, it's a good question. One area that we do in the process that we repair, and is when you don't take care of something, specifically a person. If you don't take care of your spouse or your friend or a child, and you don't give them basic care, over time, they'll start to not trust you. And if you keep not taking care of someone, they'll trust you less. And if you break someone's trust enough time, they almost feel unsafe around you. Anxiety is, on some level, not feeling safe within yourself. So one of the primary things that we do is we show you that through all these little acts of you not taking care of yourself, you basically have shattered trust with yourself, and you're experiencing that feeling of feeling unsafe from the accumulated broken trust. And so one of the tools and the exercises that you do regularly repairs trust. When you trust and feel strong in yourself, you feel safer. When you feel safer, you feel less anxious. Make sense?
It does make sense. I do have a question, though. Over the years, let's say that I have really fallen for the pattern that I can't trust myself, that I haven't been taking care of myself, and therefore I can't trust myself. How in 6 weeks or in some very small period of time can you get me to realize that I can now trust myself? It seems like that's an experiential learned process that can only happen over time. How can I adjust and learn and be confident that I can trust myself in such a short period of time after years and years of learning that I cannot trust myself?
It's an excellent question, and I don't want to sound like a broken record. That's what we spent all this time testing. It seems big and complex, but we just focused on this for 8 years. We worked with 3,000 people creating tools that rebuild it quickly. And from the outside looking in, you think, how can you do a lifetime in 6 weeks? I know, because we've been focusing on it. And again, 90% success rate. We only get paid when you get results. So I know you're probably skeptical because it seems like a tall order, but again, you pay at the end when you get results. What I will say is that a major tenet of the program is repetition and exercises 4 times a day. So you're repeating over and through the repetition. It's not just one big enlightenment where you go, oh my God, I trust myself. I'm so sorry. It's daily repetition of exercises. And with the physical body, that's often what you do. When you go to physical therapy, they set you through a set of physical exercises that are repetitive, whether it's stretching, strength building. So I can't tell you exactly how we do it, but a major tenet is repetition of doing what your body needs, and it accumulates over time. In the same way neglect accumulates over time, repair accumulates over time through repetition.
Beautiful. I can understand that and totally appreciate that. Thank you, Daniel. Please continue.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So what are we looking at when we're looking at, how about those of us who might have a nervous system who's not that broken down? There are some of us, of course, who aren't baseline anxious. We probably want to learn these skills on how to maintain our at least somewhat healthy nervous system in these trying times.
That's a great question. So some people come to us, most people come to us for anxiety. Why? Because pain is motivating. When people are in enough pain, they reach out for help. If you're anxious or there are things that make you scared, the pain may not be high enough to reach out for help. You can find a comfort zone and you can get by. However, this program isn't about lowering anxiety. It's bringing the nervous system healthy. And so if you're smart and you're listening to this as you are, you may be okay. You may not have extreme anxiety, but you may have situations where you get anxious or scared. You may be stuck in your comfort zone. There may be fear from public speaking. So some people come to us, same program, and it makes their nervous system very strong. And so last month, we had a business person who came to us and he got nervous on stage. He didn't have general anxiety. He just got nervous on stage. He went through the same program and now on stage, he's confident, he's happy. So some people come to us to lower anxiety. Some people want to just be free of fear and have a strong nervous system, which is what kids have. Before their nervous system gets neglected, kids have a healthy nervous system. That's why kids are resilient and open-hearted and loving and healthy, because they have their original factory settings. So if the idea of having that childlike nervous system where your heart's always open, you go, look at all the energy I have. This isn't cocaine. This is completely natural. And I couldn't leave the house at one point. And this is the result of a really healthy nervous system.
So I have a question for you. The differentiation between anxiety and depression, or anxiety and fear, or anxiety and nervousness, or anxiety and confusion, or anxiety and, scatteredness, is sometimes very difficult to actually delineate, to actually decide what is different. Does this system work with other symptoms or other experiences just as well? Experiences such as fear, or such as depression, or such as confusion or scatteredness, things that may have developed over time as a similar result of a broken nervous system?
You're definitely a doctor. An excellent question. So first of all, because nobody was seeing this whole fragile nervous system theory, we think there's all these problems. But if you think of the mouth metaphor, if you don't brush and floss, your mouth becomes fragile. Then guess what causes pain? Carrots, ice cubes, ice cream. A lot of things can make your mouth hurt. Your mouth could even hurt when you're asleep. But nobody says, oh, I have sleep mouth disorder. Oh, I'm suffering from carrot disorder, ice cream disorder, ice cube disorder. No one taught there. We just realized there's one root cause, and that fragility is manifesting in these different ways. Many types of fear of public speaking, also nervousness, lack of focus is often a symptom of afraid. When you're afraid, it's hard to focus. We've had people who have come in for anxiety and OCD. They calmed their nervous system down, and guess what went away? The OCD, because part of their OCD was this constant freneticness from the worry. Now, in terms of depression, is a secondary symptom of the anxiety, because when you are anxious and scared all the time, you start to withhold from life. So not only are you not nourishing yourself, but you're scared all the time and you get tired. And a lot of people come to us with anxiety and depression. Our program is 6 weeks long, and anxiety goes down significantly or completely in 6 weeks. Depression will lift, but it takes more time, because it's like a garden. If you have neglected it for a really long time, you might have the flowers are wilting, the grass is brown, but then the bees don't show up, and then there's no honey. But if you go in and start watering it, the grass will come back pretty quickly, but it might take a couple seasons for the bees and the honey to come back. So depression definitely lifts. We don't promise it in 6 weeks, but 3 months ago, we had a client who came in for anxiety, but of course had depression, lack of focus, lack of motivation, and her anxiety went down by, I would say about, if I remember correctly, 75%. In just 6 weeks, and her depression lifted about 30%, and her focus and motivation went up 75%. No, it was 60%. But that's just in 6 weeks. You now have the tools to keep going after the 6 weeks. So we don't stop at that. That's just what we do in 6 weeks.
Okay. And when measuring these percentages, I suppose that you use some classical psychometric tools to do that, or how do you know what 60% of anxiety is, Fern?
I love the fact that you're asking results. Daniel, you're talking a big game with results. How do you get results? So when you come into the program, we have an intake questionnaire where we're measuring you in several key category and metrics. And to keep it simple, it's basically 1 to 10. We ask you your peak anxiety, middle anxiety, low. How long does it last? How are you sleeping? How's your motivation? And it's a lot of 1 to 10 metrics. So we measure it at the beginning, but then we're measuring it multiple times per day as you go through the program. So we get a strong baseline measurement in multiple key categories at the beginning, but then we're tracking you throughout the program so that at the end, your measurements and your improvement level in multiple categories is clear. And we have an app where you're entering things multiple times a day.
Okay. Now, are these mostly subjective answers to these questions then? Because it would seem if this is a body-based illness or a body-based condition, it's something we might be able to measure by actually asking the body rather than asking the mind to figure out whether or not I'm anxious and how anxious I am. Is there something that you can measure with the body itself to determine the level of anxiety?
There probably is. We don't do that because we don't want to overcomplicate things, and this works. We ask people multiple times a day from 1 to 10, how anxious are you? And that number, while simple and experiential and subjective, it's accurate because it's their experience.
Sure.
One person's 10 might be another person's 7. That's okay. Your 7 by the end of the program is going to be down around a 3. It's not heart rate. It's not like that little thing from the lie detector. It's nothing like that, partly because we don't want to overcomplicate it.
Understood. You so much for that answer. I totally appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah, I like your questions. You're keeping me on my toes, Dr. Fred.
Yeah, that's my job. That's what I do here as a podcaster, and it's what I do as a doctor. And
Good. Good.
Someone who's really looking at this stuff. So,
And to your listener, don't just fully believe me. Be skeptical. I know this makes sense, but everything you've tried for anxiety hasn't solved it, let alone in 6 weeks, let alone, we're not experts. Based in your experience, the idea of something simple and solvable in 6 weeks is foreign to you. Be skeptical. Don't just believe me. Be skeptical. We love skeptical people because it means you're paying attention. However, because you only pay at the end once you get results, you can be skeptical and still collect the data to see if it works or not. If it doesn't work, you don't pay a penny. When it does work, you get your life back.
that's fantastic. That seems like a good return on investment, a pretty good risk to take after.
Thank you. We
Yeah.
think so. We're very proud of our backed up results. We call it our no change, no charge guarantee.
It's really I love it. No change, no charge. It's beautiful. So let's say people who are listening, either themselves or someone they know wants to get a hold of you. How might they do that? What's the best way to learn from you or to connect with you or to even create a possible business arrangement?
So all those. So first of all, regarding business arrangement, the beauty of this program is we made it to be scalable. It's all online, exercises and videos. It's very easy to learn. So if you're a practitioner or a doctor or a company who wants a simple solution, either to learn it and to share it with others or to bring it into your company because you're dealing with the burnout and the anxiety, please reach out to us. Also, we want to put this into schools and prisons. This is the base. We teach kids the food pyramid. We need to teach them the emotional food pyramid, what to nourish themselves every day so we don't have all these anxious teenagers who are cutting themselves and killing themselves. So our mission is to help millions. If you're an individual, I want to make sure that you're who we want to work with because we don't work with everybody. If you're just listening to this podcast and you're thinking, oh, that's great information. Oh, wow, that makes a lot of sense. But you're not ready to take action, don't reach out to us. Knowledge is useless on some level. If you want to solve something, I think knowledge is overrated. I spent $100,000 on knowledge and I almost killed myself. So if you just want to learn more, don't reach out to us. It's not the knowledge that allows us to do this. It's the process and the steps that we spent 8 years figuring out. If you want to know more about the process, how it works, what it costs, then what you want to do is reach out to me at danielpackard.com/call and book a consultation. Then we'll talk. I'll learn more about you. I'll understand your situation better. And I'll triple check that this is going to work for you because we want you to feel better. We don't want you to do this program and fail because then you feel worse and more broken. We're here to make you feel better. But also, we only get paid when it works. So I have to triple check that you're a good candidate. Most people are, but that's also what the program is. Then we talk about pricing. It's obviously not free, but we don't want money to get in the way of your happiness. And we know times are tough. So I promise you, if you want to do this, we have a package and a payment plan that will work for you. So again, if you just want to keep learning about your anxiety and you want to manage it, don't reach out. There's $1 trillion is spent on mental health every year. There's lots of people who will take your money to teach you about it, learn about it, and always peel back layers of the onion. They'll take your money. The Improvement Industrial Complex will take your money. If you actually want to solve this finally and you're open, and you have an open mind that sometimes life isn't complicated, it's simple. If that's you and you want to be happy again, so you can just be expansive and get back to doing what you love and not looking over your shoulder and be there for your family and yourself and enjoy work again and enjoy life again. Remember, I was in the fetal position and now I was one of the first test cases. If you want your version of this, remember when Harry met Sally? I'll have what he's having. This is like legit. If you want your version of joy, consistent joy, and you're ready to take action, reach out to us for a consultation, danielpackard.com/call, so we can talk, so we can get you happy again.
Fantastic. Daniel, what a thrill it's been to really learn about all these, what these last 8 years have done for you and the system that you've designed and developed and in some ways perfected, or at least have it honed down so that you're getting better than 90% results in this whole overwhelming pandemic of anxiety that has the entire society on its heels, and the entire society nervous and fearful and anxious about whatever they think they're nervous and anxious about. But you have an access to helping people not only repair and then beyond repair, actually maintaining their nervous system so they don't have to experience this crippling anxiety any longer, this anxiety that leaves us paralyzed. You don't have to do that anymore. And so that sounds interesting. It's like a good time to reach out to Daniel Packard.
Thank you so much. And just, can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
Again, I'm here talking a lot about knowledge and information, and it's great and valuable. What I hope I gave people, because what you were talking about, the difficult times, myself, I almost lost hope. Most people that come talk to us, they're beginning to lose hope because nothing is working because people are looking in the wrong location. They haven't built a repair system. So I want, if you're listening to this, please just don't give up hope. You do not have to live like this if you don't want to. So if nothing else, I hope I gave you some hope that you can be happier. If you want to actually take action to be happier, please reach out to us again, danielpackard.com/call. Don't give up hope. Not information, liberation. Testify.
Beautiful. Fantastic. That's fantastic. Thank you so much. Daniel, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for introducing yourself and to introducing my audience to what it is that you've developed. It's really revolutionary and groundbreaking and totally appreciate it. And thank you for taking such a nice bite out of such a really it's a very relevant and ubiquitous condition, this notion of anxiety. So for taking a bite out of that and really doing the research and now having something that can turn it around for so many. Good work.
Thank you. Thanks for appreciating me.
Absolutely. So there you have it, folks. Daniel Packard. And it's what an honor it's been to interview and have a conversation with this amazing person. If you liked what you heard, I invite you to comment and share and even subscribe to the podcast. It's just been a pleasure to interview Daniel, and I look forward to working with him probably professionally down the road, learning a little bit more about how to alleviate anxiety, which is here for your taking as well. So if you want to get in touch with Daniel, he's left his contact. That's danielpackard.com/call. And you can give him a call and really learn what program might fit you the best. Thanks again, Daniel. Beautiful to have you here. Have a great rest of the day and peace.
Bye-bye, healthy healers.